Hello, namaste, greetings, high fives, warm welcomes, handshakes. My name is Timothy Halloran, and the date is Sunday, May 27th, 2018. Every couple of weeks, I put a video on YouTube around the new full moon phase period. And I also offer readings and workshops, and you can tune in through my newsletter on my website at rosalilihealing.com. And if you're interested in learning and experiencing more, I also do monthly horoscopes and monthly Q&A sessions for my Patreon page. And so I'll have some workshops coming up right around the corner, and be sure to check in if you are interested. Now, I'm doing things a little bit differently this time around, obviously. Normally, I'm outside in nature, surrounded by trees and birds, and today I'm inside. It's a rainy day. I also had to return my other video camera. So we're doing things differently. Fortunately, I was able to bring a little bit of nature to me. My wonderful fiance, Mackenzie, is a wedding photographer, and so she brought this incredible arrangement of flowers. So we're bringing the nature inside this week. So things are different. We're really breaking into a new dimension, a new pace, a new phase, cycle, reality of living. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of intensity, a lot of adjustment and transformation going on the last couple months. So to begin with, congratulations. You've survived April and the majority of May 2018. Powerful months going on this year. And even the last couple weeks, we had 5 planets changing signs. And so Uranus at the 1st degree of Taurus, Chiron at 1 degree of Aries. We are just stepping into this new dimension of being. And as we talked about in the last video, it's a very fast-paced, restless, lots of change, lots of unexpected, shocking shifts and adjustments and trial and error, and a need to slow down and calm down and settle down, because it's a very exciting months to come, really through the majority of the rest of this year. You know, now through fall time if you're in the northern hemisphere, and now through springtime if you're in the southern hemisphere, we have Mars retrograde beginning in the sign of Aquarius, conjoined with the moon south node, squaring to Uranus. So Mars is square to Uranus these months to come. Very exciting, very restless. So much to do, such little time. And as we talked about, our nervous system can be on overdrive. This can be a period of really coping and dealing with anxiety, dealing with the nature of unexpected shifts or the trauma that we've experienced in the past that we are now healing and recovering from. And so just a few days ago, I did an online presentation titled Trauma, Anxiety, and Magic. And while astrology is very good at identifying what's going on in terms of the collective experience, the season, the cycle, is it summertime? Okay, but what do? We put on sunglasses and sunscreen. We prepare for the summertime. And so this presentation is about addressing, resolving, and healing trauma and anxiety in a time where trauma and anxiety and this restlessness in our nervous system can be a little bit higher. And so we're all doing this investigation in how to stay settled, how to feel tuned in, how to feel grounded. And if you're interested in the various tips and tools that I mentioned, be sure to check out that video on anxiety, trauma, and magic. And magic simply means transformation. We are healing. We are transforming these dynamics within ourselves so we can be more in tune with who we really are, what we really value, and even forming a more accurate self-image in terms of how we actually function in the world and society as well. And so again, that video is online, and there's some really beautiful things going on the next couple weeks with this full moon in Sagittarius on Monday, and with a beautiful grand trine formed in water between Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune going on this next week. there is an opportunity for us to slow down, for us to tune in really deeply in a very mystical, magical, and fulfilling type of way. And there can also be an investigation into our deeper feelings, our feelings, the releasing of various feelings can also be the trail of breadcrumbs leading us in to our deeper self, our truer identity, and what it is that we really value, what makes us feel safe, what makes us feel protected in our own life, in our own body, regardless of all the outer stimulation and activity happening in our world at this time. And so this is a very exciting, fast-paced period, not only with this Mars retrograde, but also with the Sun being in the sign of Gemini. And coming up this Tuesday, May 29th, Mercury will enter his own sign of Gemini. Gemini is the wing-footed messenger of the gods, who quickly reverberates between different dimensions, the upper worlds, the lower worlds, in order to deliver messages and connect these dimensions together, to form bridges, to understand, to map out our own consciousness. So there's a real opportunity going on now, also with this full moon in Sagittarius, to create this bigger picture perspective, map, and bird's eye view understanding of our reality. This is what Sagittarius is really all about. Sagittarius and his ruler Jupiter is about the truth, what is universal, what is always applicable. Natural laws, universal understandings, what is real, what really connects us to a sense of meaning and purpose in our life. And so Sagittarius is almost like the top of the mountain bird's eye view perspective, where everything is like a topographical map. And there's an opportunity to really tune into our soul, into our heart, and into our intuition, which is closer to and more connected to this bird's eye view than our conscious, logical, mental left brain. And so this full moon in Sagittarius, like all full moons, brings up a polarity, as the Earth is in between the Sun opposing the Moon. The Moon in Sagittarius is our right brain, big picture perspective, intuition, whereas Gemini and Mercury in Gemini is our left brain, logical, rational, conscious memory and perspective that measures and breaks apart and discerns everything into labels and measurements and digits and names, so we can break apart our surrounding environment into bits and pieces of information, so we can actually communicate, so we can actually understand one another. And so Gemini and Mercury is important. Our left brain mind, even the monkey mind, serves a wonderful purpose. And yet, when the monkey mind gets disconnected from nature, gets disconnected from our right brain intuition, and starts to run amok in the hamster wheel, or gets stuck in the rat maze of what's exactly in front of us. Ooh, here's the brick wall, here's the challenge, here's the stressful, limiting thing that we have to deal with that is annoying, and we just want to be on the other side. Or the challenge that we don't know the solution to yet. This brick wall that we're facing that we have to get through, and yet we can't relax until we get this job done, until we get this mail delivered, until we get this bill paid, so on and so forth. And so the opportunity between the Sagittarius-Gemini polarity is to bridge our left and right hemispheres of our brain together, so that way we can understand what's going on rationally and practically, and communicate and send messages and connect with the souls that we're working with in a way that can actually function without losing perspective of the bigger picture. And again, the huge opportunities these weeks is to really tune in a deeper, more mystical, more meaningful, transformative, and fulfilling way than we have had an opportunity perhaps in a while. And so we can settle down. We can tune into both our physical and our emotional body. And that's where we're going to be discovering the keys, the eureka moments coming from our intuition, tuning us into the bigger picture perspective, tuning us into what really matters, and the system of values that gives us stability and protection, even amongst the tumultuous of everyday living in this busy highway, fast food, slamming coffee, and skipping through red lights culture and society and world that we live in. And so the emotional body, our physical body, is the divine feminine. And I use the divine feminine and masculine this way. You know, masculine is energetically, elementally air and fire. Feminine is energetically and elementally water and earth. But perhaps feminine and masculine is a misleading terminology, and yin and yang, inner, outer, may be a better way of looking at these dynamics. Feminine is inner, yin, receptive, yielding, tuning in to our sensitivity. And this is where the information can come from. Indeed, there's a tremendous amount of information that can even come from our own physical bodies as well. More information than we've ever been led to believe. But again, there can be these challenges coming up right now. Over the last weekend, the 26th and the 27th, we now have Venus transiting through the sign of Cancer, opposite to Saturn in Capricorn. And so this can bring up our own emotional fulfillment needs, the need to be receptive and yielding and slow down and tune in versus the demands, the expectations, and the obligations of the world. The bills that need to get paid, the taxes that were sent in wrong and are now being penalized and overdue. I can't even imagine what that must be like. I'm just kind of kidding. Yes, I'm looking at a stack of bills right over there and late tax payment plans. And you know what? This can create a lot of insecurity. Sun is quincunx to Saturn this week, May 29th. It really brings up this friction, this responsibility that we need to do. Oh, do I have time to slow down? Do I have time to tune into my emotional body? The world and the demands of the outside are not necessarily giving us the permission to do so. And again, as I talked about in the anxiety video, there's opportunities to heal this trauma and anxiety in the triggers. When we have our anxiety triggered, when we have a mental breakdown, when we totally freak out, it's not a good experience. It's not something we want to keep repeating. But when and if it does happen, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world or we're a failure or we are an irresponsible person who should be locked up in a loony bin. The opportunity is to discover what are the triggers. What does make me feel unsafe? What does provoke me to not focus on the things that I highly value and really matters in life? Where are those triggers coming from? Where are their roots going towards in the past? Because anxiety never exists for no good reason. Anxiety is conditioned. We're trained by the world and society to feel anxious by certain things, such as the bills and the tax payments that actually can surmount a lot more to conceptual digits in a digital dimension more than reality in terms of our actual physically existing and emotional well-being reality. And yet it may not feel like it. We may feel like we're about to starve or insecure, so on and so forth. And so again, there's an opportunity to address what makes me feel afraid or uncertain and what is the tool or the medicine that allows me to tune into what really matters. And there can be a lot of going back and forth to discover and to create new levels of depth into this safety and our own heart and our own connection to the earth. Venus opposite to Saturn this weekend is, maybe you've really got your shit together on the outside. And this is a time where you can be realizing this foundation that works, that allows you to bridge your emotional well-being with physical connection as well. But regardless, this is the opportunity. How can we both feel good on the inside and at least recognize that we're safe on the outside and that we're not actually threatened? Because Saturn retrograde is about deconditioning the social expectations, obligations, who we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to do in the world. We can be rolling back and unplugging from these expectations and obligations, again, forming a new self-identity, value system, and coming into a deeper connection with ourself that allows us to feel truly safe in a way that's different from what our world and our culture has taught us before. So again, this is a powerful full moon in Sagittarius. This full moon is trine to the moon's north node. This is about exploration, creative exploration. This is about going somewhere different, doing something new, and the sense that life is an adventure. And the more that we are open, the more that we are flexible, and the more willing we are to explore and to discover, the opportunity is there for us to reinvent ourselves in ever empowering ways. We can really develop a sense of confidence that connects us to that bigger picture perspective, what the truth is really all about, even amidst all the superficial distractions in our current day and age. And so full moon in Sag, trine the north node in Leo, this is about connecting with our heart, our soul, our true individuality that we carry from lifetime to lifetime. We do have a soul level ego. That is not a problem. It is our own unique individuality being created as a unique child of God. And so we can really tune into our soul, our sense of purpose and meaning, what lights us up and reminds us of who we are and what we're really doing in life. And this is what I like to refer to as the inner child. The inner child is the sense that there's always an adventure, always something to be explored on the other side of the horizon. Just like a child can grow up and be something different every other day. There's that sense that we can be and do anything because that's what it means to be a human being. So a lot of excitement. Quick-footed Mercury is going fast this month. He goes into Gemini Tuesday, May 29th, pops out of Gemini into Cancer Tuesday, June 12th. So Mercury is forming his superior conjunction to the Sun Tuesday, June 5th. And this is the time of year where Mercury is moving the very, very fastest. And he's very, very, very excited. New information, new teachings, new teachers, new friendships, new social opportunities, new experiments. Our curiosity is on all-time high. North nodes in Leo ruled by the Sun in Gemini. We're reading books. We're studying. We're researching. We're acquiring new information. We're going back and allowing our curiosity to lead us into our deepest interests, and our interests are excited. Now, Mercury can get a little bit ahead of himself during the superior conjunction phase. Skip a beat. Forget to dot an I or cross a T, And so, again, it's important that we're really tuning in and we're really finding what is connecting all of the dots, Because again, Mercury, Gemini, bits and pieces of information, all of these different things that we have to attend to. Gemini is the juggler. I'm excited to do this. I'm going to read this book 30 pages in, and then I'm going to read this book and skip to page 60. This is stereotypical Gemini. Sagittarius is the universal truth that connects all of the various facets and dimensions together. And so we are connecting the dots again by tuning into this essence, this deeper meaning, our deeper values that connects us to what really matters and reminds us of that mystical, eternal nature of our own souls and of reality with the capital R. And that's what we can really be anchoring in a profound way. that can just take us to new levels and new depths of our own connection to our higher self, to spirit, to our guides, to our gurus, however it may be, however you see it, however you phrase it. Now's the time to really self-reflect, tune in. And again, it's our emotional and our physical bodies where we're receiving so much information. Yin, the divine feminine. And so this beautiful grand trine is between Venus and Cancer. This nurturing, maternal quality, the mother, the sense that we are safe in our own emotional processing because our emotions is what is informing us of our truth, our story, our essence, and what we value in our hearts through our own feelings. And our own emotional releases can be informing us of our true story of the past, what has shaped us to be who we are. The good, the bad, the ugly has made us into the beautiful being that we are. And so this maternal wisdom of Venus in Cancer, and she's been going over the north node of Jupiter in Cancer, this most missing and needed medicine in this world at this time is the principle of nurturance, the divine mother, the capability to be safe in our own feelings and emotions and processing our sensitivities. And when we feel emotions, when we are able to process our emotional sensitivity, it requires a physically safe space. And if we're feeling any emotions, it means that we've successfully already come into a physically safe container and space. And so again, let this be a reminder or a way to discern, even if we're feeling very anxious and stressed out by the activities, the unexpected shocking shifts that's going on in the world. If we're feeling emotions or we're releasing any sentiment, it means that we're actually already in a physically safe container. Because if we're in an actually physically threatening situation or circumstance, we won't feel emotions. We'll go into the fight or flight, adrenaline takeover, objective drive. And so we're intentionally addressing anxiety, which can create that sense of the fight or flight drive when it's not necessarily the case. By unwinding, by tuning into those triggers, tuning into the past story that created that anxiety in the first place, following the trail of breadcrumbs into our past, where eureka moments and realizations can be going on, again, these next several months, that is allowing us to heal our sense of connection. And so it's okay to slow down. Mars square to Uranus, let's go ahead, let's break all the rules, let's completely reject the group because they don't know what the hell they're doing and they're a bunch of assholes anyways. Or let's try to prove ourselves to the group, like, oh my goodness, we need everybody to give us pats on the back. We need everybody to be our best friend in order to be successful and acceptable. It's like, it's all right to slow down, settle down, process. Let this stuff bubble up from the surface, because this is what we can really do to tune into a whole new dimension of existence. Venus is trine to Jupiter in Scorpio. We're tuning into our deeper truth, our deeper philosophy. Jupiter is retrograde these months. We're tuning into our personal truth and philosophy, not necessarily the religions, the belief systems, the understandings that we were taught and conditioned with in our early childhood. And Venus and Jupiter are trine to Neptune in Pisces. The collective, the whole world, spirit. And so we're really being able to tune in. So do your magic this next couple weeks. Draw your oracle cards. Open the old mystic text. Do your meditation. Do your yoga. Take the nice long baths with candles and incense and do nothing. And allow her, with a capital H, to approach you. Be open. The more open we are, the more flexible, the more yielding we are. This is how we tune into this wisdom of the divine feminine. And as we'll talk about, there's really an oracular potential here with 3 powerful asteroid goddesses aspecting this grand water trine. But first, let's talk about Neptune, who is stationing this month of June. Neptune stationing at 16 degrees and 30 solar arc minutes of the sign of Pisces, Monday, June 18th. And again, Mercury is passing Sun in a superior conjunction, very fast, very eager, very exciting, and potentially skipping beats. And we have to be careful because Mercury is square to Neptune Wednesday the 6th, Sun squares to Neptune Thursday the 7th, and then next week Neptune's stationing retrograde. It can be very confusing what's going on these weeks. It can be confusing in a somewhat enjoyable and mystical way, like, whoa, what are these new dimensions that I'm tuning into? What is this new truth that is introducing fundamentally new possibilities into my reality? What is that? Oh, I don't know. It's an exploration. And because it's an exploration, you don't have to know. You don't have to take the soapbox and tell everybody what the fundamental truth for everybody is. Probably isn't going to work. Truth is pretty subjective, and there's a diversity of different perspective and experiences going on here on this planet, So it's okay to slow down, explore. You don't have to have everything figured out. There's a lot of different things going on. Communication, articulation can be difficult. What's really going on in our relationships? We don't have to jump to conclusions here, I think is the point. We don't have to jump to conclusions because it's about this eternally descending into our bodies and tuning into the earth. And so let our minds run a little bit. Let that curiosity open up new toy chests and start to play around with what is possible. And with Neptune and Mercury and all of this exploration, there's the opportunity to tune into deeper reality. I mean, Neptune stationing retrograde, similar to Jupiter retrograde, this is about finding your connection to spirit, your truth, your reality, what God means to you, what unconditional love means to you, so on and so forth. So yes, we can really tune in, but it's in this being open and receptive type of way. And so it's like, how are we developing a sense of taste, Venus, of what we value the most? And try things out. Do the Gemini thing. Open the book, read a few pages, and then tune into your body and your emotional being. How does it make you feel? Let that be your discernment, because that is the wisdom of the feminine. That's the oracular sensitivity that we can be tuning in these days in a profound way. I mean, this is a time to be praying all day long and to be doing your chanting and your singing or your artistic creation and music making like we're a fountainhead of all of this beauty and love and feeling, raw emotion, even if it is painful or sad. When we sing it into being, when we bring it into creation, it is beautiful, it is rich, it is tasty, and it touches other people's hearts. It inspires people to come alive. And so again, we can tune into this receptive, yielding nature, into this deeper truth, even while we're still figuring out the bits and pieces, by being open to exploring through trial and error, being open to taste testing and sampling a little bit of everything. So to develop that sense of taste and then to cultivate what it is that we value the most, what uplifts our heart, what makes us feel safest, what makes us feel most secure and most connected to the whole, the collective, the bigger picture, which reminds us of what our real position as a human being truly is, which is some form of loving service to be rendered back to the collective in some way, shape, or form. And once we align with our authentic human role, this is how we start to taste and cultivate this increasing taste for what really fulfills us the most. And the more that we find that tastiest things and fill ourselves up with devotion and love and caring and nurturing for our own bodies, for the bodies of others, for our own well-being, for the well-being of others, we start to lose taste for all of these superficial, man-made, culturally constructed distractions. And so here is the opportunity. Bhav is mood. What is the mood that you want to cultivate? What is the feeling that you want to cultivate? Every person's relationship to the divine or spirit will have a unique and particular mood. It will be different per every individual soul. So again, what do you want to feel in your heart? What do you want to feel in your body? What do you want to share with other people? And there's an opportunity to do a lot of changing. Our value system, how we're sharing, how we're exchanging energy. All of these things can update itself in order to get into a deeper, truer, more authentic alignment with our soul. Venus is forming an opposition with Pluto next week, Tuesday, June 5th. This is this opportunity to transform how we're exchanging energy, how we're dealing with money, for example, how we're connecting with other people, and how we're connecting and tuning into ourselves, our own treasure chest of values. Venus also squares Juno next week on the 2nd. And so a part of this theme is how to do Juno and Aries, be independent, do the things that we want to do as individuals, be able to meet our own unique desires, selfish desires, not a problem. It's about integrating them with the world and other people harmoniously, with balance. So the opportunity is how do we integrate our own need for independence and autonomy for our own need for intimacy and reciprocation from other people. And again, by tuning into our value system, what makes us feel safest, what makes us feel good, what is tasty, what we cherish, what we enjoy the most, we want to share, like what we want to bring to school for show and tell is Venus, that will allow us to connect with others without sacrificing our autonomy and be able to share things that really value and mean the most to us. So what feelings are you wanting to cultivate? What makes you feel closest and most connection to the earth? What does abundance mean to you? What is true abundance? What is true security? Full moon in Sagittarius can tune us into that natural joy, that sense of abundance by tuning into what is natural, our own connection to the earth. And Uranus has just entered Taurus. And my mind is already being blown by how much information comes directly from our own body, our own senses. And Uranus is going to be in Taurus the next 7 years. We're really tuning into the information coming from the earth. And our own bodies, which are born directly out of this earth, are essentially one with this earth, the extension of this earth. It is like our bodies are the antenna of this earth. As we tune into our body, as we nourish our body, as we honor our body with what is healthy and what is good, this is how we tune that antenna, like tuning the antenna on a television set. And by honoring our body, worshiping our body, pushing the limit of how good our body can possibly feel, is also earth worship. It is worshiping the divine feminine because our body is an extension of the earth. And how well we are taking care of our body is a reflection of how attuned we are to the earth and how much we are respecting the earth ourselves. So a lot of deep, profound wisdom coming from down beneath these days. And now let's talk about these asteroid goddesses aligning with this beautiful grand water trine. With Venus in Cancer, we see Venus is aligned with asteroid Iris. Asteroid Iris, similarly to Mercury, is one of the messengers of the gods. She is a rainbow bridge messenger. She is more right brain intuition, big picture perspective bridger of different dimensions, dealing with oracular intelligence. And in Venus, it's our own emotional body. In Cancer, it's our own emotional body that can really be informing us. Our own subjective feelings. Why do we feel this way? We don't just feel things for no good reason. There's no such thing as a lunatic who just feels crazy things for whatever reason. There's always a cause. There's always a reason why. What is our emotional body informing us? Jupiter is exactly conjoined to asteroid Psyche this next week. Asteroid Psyche deals with the psyche. Asteroid Psyche is our own understanding of the human condition. And Jupiter all of this year, for the most part, now through October, is in Scorpio, really investigating the deep end of the human condition and the unconsciousness. We can really tune into our own deeper understanding of our own unconscious dynamics, our psyche, by tuning in again. And partly this, again, can be our triggers, our anxiety. We're tuning into the unconsciousness. Why do I feel this way? Our feelings are tuning us into reality. An asteroid psyche, the understanding of the human condition, is also our capability to understand other human beings and to connect with other human beings, even psychically, even telepathically, which comes not just from a magical gift from out of the blue, but a deep attunement to nature, a deep attunement to the feminine. You know, it's like the feminine has so been suppressed and ignored, our emotional body, our physical body. We have not mapped this area of the human psyche out. There's a whole world going on there. There's a language yet undiscovered. There is a system that has not yet been mapped. And so the opportunity with Jupiter on Psyche is to map this deeper, more unconscious human condition. Joined with Neptune is asteroid Urania. Urania is the orchestrator of the divine sound of the spheres. She is one of the 9 muses of the Greek paradigm, the creatrix of this reality. This is Neptune. This is Pisces. The divine sound of the spheres is that universal orchestra that is within and in between all things. It is the essence of life, the essence of love that animates everything and is inherent within everything and inherent within nothing. That's the beyond beyond, the mystical truth, the transcendental wisdom and reality that brings us out of this limited 3-dimensional reality and connects us to this transcendental nature, the nature of our own souls that lives unlimited lifetimes and unlimited forms, tasting and expressing beauty in various ways. And that eternal nature, which is full of knowledge, bliss, and peace, we can really tune into this week. Amidst the dramas, the distractions, and the fast-paced nature of our world, we can still tap into that dimension, which is eternally peaceful, which is eternally connected, and which is eternally in tune with the knowledge of who we are in the deeper, the vaster, bigger picture perspective. And so let's conclude this week's video, Full Moon in Sagittarius, with the Sabian symbol of this full moon. Now, I don't always read the Sabian symbols because they have to be included with astrology. You have to look at the planets, the aspects, the signs, the houses to understand themes, and then you start to bring in asteroids and Sabian symbols and what connects them all. The repeated themes. These are the signatures that astrologers tune into to understand the energy of what's going on. So here is a very relevant Sabian symbol, which reads, "A mother is leading her children up a broad stairway." This is a mother leading her children up a broad stairway and this beautiful grand trine in water. And so Dane Rudura writes that this is about conscious advance of selfhood plane to plane. We can realize a new plane of depth. We can advance a new spiral of evolution. This is about inner guidance and growth, connecting to our inner heart, our inner guide, which establish us to true safety, true confidence, and real courage. So again, all the best to you during these magical weeks. You deserve it. Please enjoy it after these very intense, fast-paced months of April and May. I look forward to continued connecting and sharing on the Patreon page. I am intentionally going to be directing more energy towards this group of people who want to connect with me, my workshops, what I'm sharing, and I'm very open to what do you want to learn? What do you hear? What do you want to hear? What do you want to talk about? And we're going beyond astrology. We can talk about psychology. We can talk about magic, all the above and in between, so that way we can come together personally and intimately, start sharing our stories and start talking about the tools and the medicines that we are discovering and pioneering ourselves as we continue this journey of living on this planet at this time. And so thank you for being the medicine women and the medicine men that you are. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to speak with those on a similar wavelength and other like minds. And so again, wishing all the best to yourself and your beloveds. Please do take care.